Well, hello, Minecrafters. Today I'm going to show you a revised four-way double rail intersection. This is an older design I originally had. Then Iskall decided he was going to try to include something like this on the Hermitcraft server, and I took a look at my video and decided, you know what, I can do better. So this is going to be a more robust design. It's a little easier to build, and I'll go ahead and show you the operation for those of you who haven't seen this before. But essentially, the player comes up to the intersection and they're presented with three different buttons to indicate the direction they like to travel on the rail network. So left goes to the leftmost green line over there. This right button over here goes to right where the blue is, and the further off straighter one here goes straight across to the orange. So I'll just show this in action here. So if we push right, taken to the right there, and if we push straight, we'll go straight across, and if we push the left button, we'll go to the leftmost interchange. So that's pretty simple for the player to use and see. And as far as the build, we'll just peek under here. Looks a little complicated. This is actually pretty straightforward, and the nice thing about it is it only takes up the room underneath, leaving you lots of areas to decorate and do what you want up top, so it looks real nice. So what makes this design better, in my opinion, is that the old design relied on a fairly precise timing in order for the minecart to take the leftmost direction. Now this one is more robust and gives you a lot more leeway in that regard, and is a lot simpler to build as well, if it does take a little bit more vertical space, but you still have a lot of room here to decorate. And this is also going to be useful timing-wise if you're on a server where you can't always guarantee that objects are going to travel at the same speed. So this is probably going to be a little bit more suited for every application. So calling this version 2.0. Okay, a couple things about this style of intersection real quick here, as you'll notice that it's actually dropped down one level from where the tracks would be. The reason for this is we want the minecart, when it comes in, to stop on this angle, so that when the player pushes the button, the minecart will automatically start to move. So some care does need to be taken that the speed of the minecart is such that it stops here. This can be accomplished a couple different ways. In this case, if we're coming in rather fast, we'll have this first powered rail as an extra little brake to slow it down. If your minecarts are going to come in slow, you probably want to replace that with just regular track. If you can't really tell or guarantee that minecarts are going to come in at a specific speed, what I'd recommend is dropping this actually two levels down so you have two angles. And the slower minecarts will stop a little higher and the faster ones will stop a little lower. But keeping minecart speed up isn't that difficult, but just to give you some options. Alright, now I'll go over a tutorial on how to build this. First thing you're going to do is map out the loop, which is just a 5 by 5 square. And this will be the loop that the track goes around, and we can actually put that in now if we'd like. And then we're going to get the two lines coming out from either side. And this will just be one space apart on each face. We're going to go out 4 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up one like that. And we're going to do this for all 4 sides. Alright, now that we've got all 4 done, the next thing we're going to do is get some powered rail and just fill this in here. You can cap it off on the top like that. And we're not going to do these switches yet. Just leave it like that for the time being. And once we get all this filled in, now that we've got this filled in with the track, we're going to go and see how we need to set our default positions for all the switches. And to do this, the first thing we need to do is drop down these intersections 1 block, just like this, for each one of these. And we're going to put torches on top, and this is going to show us what we need to adjust, because, as many of you already know, the orientation of Minecraft rail switches changes depending on the direction that they're going. And without knowing which way it is beforehand, we're going to do this, and it's going to show us what we need to do to adjust. So now that we've got our torches placed, you can see that we have different positions for the rail switches, and some of them are correct and some of them incorrect for how we want this default position to be. What we're looking for is we want each one of these lines to curve toward its closest corner. So this one's curving toward the corner, that's correct. This one's curving towards the corner, that's correct. Now there should be one of these corners should have both of them correct, and the others will have to adjust. So since both of these are correct, we don't have to do anything with these torches. We'll just leave them as is at the moment. But going over here, we can see this one. This side's correct, but this one's going the wrong way here. So we're going to need to make an adjustment to this torch down here. In this case, we don't need the torch, and we can just get rid of it. Just like that. And now it's correct. Over here, these are both incorrect. They're going the wrong way. So on this side, we can get rid of the torch. And now for this one, we have to do something slightly different. What we're going to do is we're going to put another block next to it there, and we're going to relocate this torch to be on the side, and we're going to invert it from below there. All right, so now we can look at this one. This one is correct. That's incorrect. So for this side, once again, put the block next to it, and we're just going to relocate that torch and invert it from below right there. Now all these should be correct. So we've got the corners connected here. These turns toward the corner, and so we should get this pattern on all four sides. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to put the position of the buttons. I'm just going to color code these for now, just so you can see what's going on a little bit easier. So we're going to do a green button, we're going to do the purple, and we're going to do this yellow-orange on that side. And we're going to repeat this for all four sides here. All right, now that we've got that, we can put the buttons on top. And we can now start to wire these up. And once again, I'm going to color code these so that it's a little easier to follow how the wire is going. So for this button, we'll notice something here. The way we've set this up, we don't actually have to change any switches to go to the right, and that's what this button does. It's already set up. All we have to do is power this rail, and this button already does it because it's next to it. So this button actually doesn't get wired up to anything else. We're actually going to put a block below it, and that way it's not going to interfere in any lines, but that block will become important later. And we'll just repeat this for all four sides. That button, we're just going to put a block below it because we're not actually going to send a signal anywhere else. Now, for the green button, this is the one that goes straight across to the other side. Now, if you'll notice, we only have to change one intersection to make that happen, and that's this one right here. So if this one flips, the rest of the cart is just going to automatically go straight across to the other side. So really, all we have to do is wire that right to this nearby torch. So we'll just drop that down one, drop that down one more, and we're going to put redstone just like that. So now this button changes the one intersection that it needs to change, and everything's good. And this is going to be repeated once again on the rest of the three sides. There we go. Just like that. And finally, this one as well. So that's pretty straightforward. And you can see even though this torch setup is different, it's still the same block going straight into there like that. So now all these buttons change just to one intersection. So here's the tricky one. And that's when you want to go left. So we need to change two intersections now. And that's going to be this one. And it's also going to be this one as well. And the way we're going to accomplish this is drop this down as normal. We're going to go right into this block with a repeater here. Just like that. So that's going to come through here and power this line, which is the first intersection we need to change. In addition, we're also going to come down this way, and this is going to lead to the next intersection over here. And just up like that. So we're going to need one repeater right here to insulate from this line here. And the rest of it, we just put the redstone straight across. And now we've done two things here. So we've got the repeater here. The signal is not going to go backwards when you push the green button. But this signal here is going to get transferred to the first intersection and then also dropped down here and transferred to the next intersection as well. And here, I'll show you how that works. So now we're going to change this one. It's going to flip, and that one's going to flip so that the minecart eventually goes out that line. You see those two flipped, and then they go back. And again, we're just going to repeat this on the other three sides. Come down two, and then we just drag this right over and just right up into that. Same thing over here. Drop that down, straight into there. Come down here, and we can just drop this, drag this right over. And there we go. All right, we'll put the repeaters here. Same thing as the other ones. We need a repeater to insulate. The repeater is also going to be helpful to adjust the delay depending how fast your minecart's going to traverse the loop on the inside. And this can change depending on the amount of decorations that you put in there, but this will give you some chance to adjust things as necessary. So then fill in the rest with redstone, straight up like that. Connect this one. There we go. That one's done already. We can do this one now. There we go. And now everything should be wired up correctly. One last thing we need to do is to power the outbound line. That'll always stay on. It's just the inbound line where we want the cart to stop and only get powered when the player pushes the button. Okay, so that's the build essentially. What I was talking about earlier is depending on what kind of decoration you put in the middle here, things like this that are next to it are going to slow your cart down, so you might need slightly different timing that you can adjust with this for the longer route that the cart needs to take. Notice that these are wooden buttons, not stone. The reason is wooden buttons will stay powered a little bit longer, giving the cart enough time to clear that second intersection we need to flip. If it flips back too soon, it's going to go to the wrong route. But that's mainly relevant for this button over here. It takes a little bit longer. All right, now we can test it here. So with this one, again, doesn't need to change anything. This one changes just the one, and this one changes both of those, and then they come back. All right, well that's the build. I'm going to move around down the bottom here so that you can pause and take a closer look if you need to examine anything here. And as the video closes, I'm just going to hop on the minecart and do some tests, make sure the operation is running correctly. All right, well, be sure to like and subscribe, and good luck with your creations.